Hey everyone, and welcome back to another 3D revolution. In this video we're going to be looking at the TS100 soldering iron. Let's have a look. The soldering iron is a key component of any maker's workshop, but sometimes having something like this take up half of your desktop isn't an option. And on top of that, sometimes you'll need to solder things away from your workshop, and carrying that around isn't going to be a fun job. That's where the TS100 steps in. Now, I've used portable soldering irons before. I've used ones that are powered by lighter fluid or AA batteries, but they always feel like toys. They take ages to heat up to a not very hot temperature. They feel like they're going to fall apart, and they just don't seem to work that well. Well, this is the exact opposite of that. This maintains a really hot temperature, which it gets to very quickly, and it's built really well. Now, not only that, but instead of being powered by lighter fluid or AA batteries, you can power it just using a USB cable, either via a USB power pack or a laptop or something like that, or you can power it using a power cable. So this cable could go into something like the mains, or you could use a cable like this, meaning that you can power your soldering iron using an XT60 battery. That has made things really different for me. Some of you may know that my main profession is as a wildlife camera operator, which means that I'm spending a lot of time in very remote locations. Especially since I've started using FPV drones whilst out on shoots, I'm having to do quite a lot of maintenance and repairs whilst I'm away from my workshop, and this thing has really stepped up to that game. Also, I obviously have a lot of XT60 batteries lying around when I'm using FPV drones, but this thing really has done a great job. It's got a high temperature. You can set what temperature you want this to go to rather than it just being on or off. And it just seems to maintain a good steady temperature the whole way, and the temperature reaches the tip. It's not just getting hot down here and it's not transferring up here. And this is the smallest of all of the portable soldering irons I have used to date. In fact, this is so nice to use that even when I'm in my workshop, I often use this instead of that big hunky thing in the background. So in addition to this soldering iron, I've also started using the SSO2 solder sucker. So I'm sure you've used a solder sucker before if you do soldering, and you found that usually this blue plastic tube is kind of falling apart before you even take it out of the packet and doesn't feel like it's built that well. This is the exact opposite of that. This is really well built, and I mean, it's in the name. It's called the Engineer SSO2, and you can tell that from the way it's built. It feels really good. Now, the end of the nib here is a silicone tip, so you can hold that right against the solder whilst your soldering iron is melting it, and that will allow you to pick up all of the solder without worrying about this melting or catching fire. So that's not why we're here though. We're talking about the TS100 soldering iron. Let's have a look at how this performs. As I said, you can plug it into the mains, or you can use an XT60 connected LiPo battery. Plugging it into the unit itself, it will then power on. It asks for a button press to make sure that it doesn't heat up accidentally in your pocket or a bag, and then it will heat up to the set temperature very quickly. So you can see there it's hit 300 degrees almost instantly, and it's now hot. From that point, you can set the temperature you want it to get to in 10-degree increments all the way up to 400 degrees. And from 300 degrees to 400 degrees, it takes a couple of seconds to race up to the temperature there. Well, I hope that's given you a better idea of whether the TS100 is the right soldering iron for you. I really recommend it, and like I said, it is now my staple go-to soldering iron that I use over my big chunky thing in the background there. I've popped a link in the description below to both this and the SSO2 solder sucker, so if you're interested in them, click the links below. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks very much.